And that is why I will always remind you, from wherever you have a chance of seeing my video, as long as you are in that Nigeria, you are close to it done. You probably understand, even though yes, you are there, of course. You have survived yesterday. Those ones killed there now, they didn't survive it. They survived yesterday, today they are gone. It is not the will of God. Don't let anybody say once it happens, maybe it's the will of God. There is no will of God in all of this madness. It is a campaign of blood, a campaign of terror, and it is state-sponsored. Those who are sponsoring the terrorism in Nigeria, they are the same people making decisions for Nigeria. Because I believe that if you are by any chance giving protection to terror sponsors, terrorist financiers, you are already committing a crime against your country. But these guys don't see Nigeria as their country. That is where a lot of you needed to wake up. You won't do this to your country. You won't protect terrorists in your country or their sponsor. You won't. But if the terrorist says, no, we are fighting the cause of Allah, it is a jihad, and you as a Muslim, you are obliged to protect us. And this elite, who know themselves, they do exactly the same. And that is why, for those of us who survived today, we may never survive it tomorrow. Because the fact that you survived yesterday makes you a potential victim today. Will you survive today again? That automatically makes you a potential victim for tomorrow. It will come. And that's the moment you will understand, may Nigeria never happen to you. May it not even happen to those you love and those you don't even love. Because it comes at you so fast in a way that you may not even live to tell the story. That is the worst part. You see, when you experience Nigeria and you live to tell the story, sometimes when you tell the story, a lot of people, some people will be like, that's impossible, that's not true. Have you ever told your life experience? Have you ever told somebody your life experience in Nigeria? And they are like, no, you are lying. Like they don't believe you. Have you ever? Well, I have. I have told people my story and experience of surviving Nigeria. And I've had people that felt like, oh, no, that's impossible. And I've had people, because they possibly have shared similar experience, it is relatable. When I was just about 12 years, in my effort, I grew up very quickly. And in my efforts to try to help my mom, as a little boy, you see your mom do a lot. And something just make you feel like, if I can help, like any way I can help, just to ease things for her, right? And then the opportunity came. For those of you who grew up during the time of Kola Olawiye, those were our own horror childhood. Some of you probably grew up watching horror movies. I grew up hearing horror movies, horror stories. And I just had to create the scenario of the physical one in my head. I was just about 11 or 12. So kidnapping people, using them for money rituals, or attempting to use them for money rituals that never really worked. And then somebody, you know, all along we always had those stories. They were so scary. And they had all this sound that would be like, dun, 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 like that. And my mom really loved me, right? You could tell she kind of like cares so much about me. But at that point, I felt like I was helping her, so I followed somebody who offered us a job. And the job was that we were going to dig Stokeway. We were little boys, me and my friend, Muiwa. We were to dig this Stokeway. And it was going to take us, we're going to dig Stokeway, and then we're also going to sand fill a foundation. Like, you know, the foundation they lay before you start building, and they mount those blocks and all that. And then we have to like go and get a wheelbarrow and, you know, build the whole thing. In a nutshell, we were sleeping inside uncompleted building. We were two little boys, very little boys, and we were taken away very far away from my mom. So let me give you an example. If you are familiar very well with Ogun State, and you know Odogbolo, okay, let me go use another one that is probably going to be easier. Let's assume that I live with my mom in Lagos, and I'm talking about like interior Lagos. Then I was to go to Ibadan, somewhere in Ibadan, a site, you know, construction site. Very little boy, very, very prone and vulnerable to any form of abuse, exploitation. In fact, going for that job was a huge exploitation at my age then. But I had to grow up fast. If you grow up in my own time, as it's probably now, it is now, and you do not have any, whether silver spoon, wooden spoon in your mouth, you would have to grow up very fast. I mean, if you end up having to be the firstborn, you have to grow up very fast. So we were there for about 5-6 days. And I was expecting to make at least 150 naira for those 1 week. They were going to pay us 20 naira per day. And I was going to make 150 naira for those 7 days, including feeding. So while we were there, Kola Olawiye was now released, I mean, was kind of was presenting a program. And the program is about some young people that were not lured, kind of, but I could use lured, you know, deceived and promised job at a construction site. But there was no construction site. The only construction site was the digging of the grave where the ritual was going to take place by the boy they deceived. So instead of the boy walking on the site, it was his body that was exhumed from the grave, the shallow grave, the little boy, I mean, the young man dog. And I remember we were listening to this from, you know, from the side, somewhere in the site, very late at night, like around 9 p.m. or so. And this sent a shiver. I was a little boy. She sent a shiver down I was like, if anything happens to me right now, what will happen to my mom? Like if somebody should take me now and just go and kill me for a ritual. Although that was the last time I ever tried that. Okay? But that experience never left me to this day. And it has been like that for years, that a lot of us have been through so many risks that we could have been easily become a victim of what Nigeria represents. You see, now we are older, now we can begin to talk about things that can happen to us. May Nigeria not happen to me because I don't want to lose my job. May Nigeria not happen to me so I don't lose my savings. But there are so many ways Nigeria happened and continue to happen to the supposed people in Nigeria that should be protected by the system. And the system doesn't give a damn. We live every day so that we can be the victim of what Nigeria represents someday. And that is scary. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't discriminate. We will be victim of a failed system that continues to see you as a mean to an end. You are supposed to be the end in itself. If you have a citizenship, if there is truly a citizenship called Nigerian, it's not real. I keep telling you, it's not real. And you can be that victim anywhere, anytime, anyhow. And every day that you survive it, you are just kind of making yourself ready for the next day. And that you are not living in Nigeria doesn't spare you, by the way. I will keep reminding you. There are so many things that can happen to you without even touching you. There are so many of us here. There are all these stories that we are hearing, as you know, as bone crushing as they kind of can be. There are some of us that would that dread such news coming from the place of your love or the people you love. There are some of you that if any of this kind of thing happen to those you really care about in that country, it will break you. Meanwhile, you are not there. You are not the one being kidnapped. I have had people who have become so heartbroken, angry, simply because those their loved ones could still be alive today. If so and so was working in Nigeria, if so and so was there, if the doctors were not on strike, if the oxygen was working, if there was electricity, if the policeman didn't delay us, if my loved one will still be alive today, or my daughter will still be, our this will still be alive today, and they remain broken from these experiences, and that's what Nigeria represents. You can never run away from it, ever, but you can cope. All right, by trying to feel like, at least it's not directly me, but it can be you. And I dread that too. I dread it. And that is why when you look at the collusion, the actions and inactions of those who rather profit from this than do their jobs, it breaks hearts. It does. And there's no one that can pretend or try to kind of, mull it in a different way. No. 18 students lost their lives. And Nigeria is a place where when Nigeria happens to you, that is when you will understand the insignificant stats or statistic that you are. 18 people died. Majority of us won't give a damn about whether the 18 that died, whether they are male, whether they are female, what classes they are, how old they were, who are their parents, what happened to their family. We will never know. All we know is 18. 270 school children have been kidnapped. That's it. 270. 160 people killed in Niger. 88 people kidnapped. And there were 50 houses burned. That's it. Just statistic. Just a number. And when Nigeria happened to you, that's when you will understand that you are just a number. And you should never just be a number. You are human. You are human. You have blood that is running in your vein. You have life that is full. You are human. You are not a thing. So if they are to treat you as a human, not as a thing, you will know. But to them, you are just a statistic. And that is why they can easily dismiss it and say, now today people they die. Is this the first time that people are dying? Don't let us make this whole thing too much like it's a is it today that people are dying? Because nobody really understand or care to understand each death and what it means. In this part of the world, every death matters. And by the time they begin to analyze each death, oh my God, you will do everything to make sure that that never happen again, ever. But in Nigeria, it is just a number. It's just stats. 66 people. It is better. At a point, they were even doing competition. I remember Femi Oponu Adesina and Garbage Shehu, the presidency and vice presidency under Boko Haram. They were doing competition. Only 14,000 people have been killed. Under Jonathan, it was 26,000. Hey, human beings. Now that they have killed 66,000 people under Boko Haram, and the whole thing is not just under Boko Haram, it's also under Abba. They have kidnapped 200 and so and so. So they have kidnapped 180 Chibok. What's that one again? Dapchi school children. Is it not 200? It is something they kidnapped in Chibok. So Boko Haram is still better. They only kidnapped 140. Really? It became a competition. And at the end, 140, 100 and this, 200 and that. This, they are actually talking about human beings. Their own supposed citizens. So don't wait to be a victim. Speak out, call out, join us, and demand, let us break up this it all and save lives. Save ourselves from kleptomaniacs and lunatics like this that is now living in hiding. Who has seen Yeye Bello lately? They said they have put his name, they have given the customs, immigration, and all of these border posts, blah, 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 blah. Yeye Bello's name. If they see him, then grab him. But this was him.
Freedom, equality, and justice. Democracy and social justice means that the vote of each citizen shall count. Each and every vote should count equally. No vote should weigh more than the other. The principles of equality of vote must be protected by the court. The interpretation of Section 134(2) of the Constitution, the much announced by the petition.
Yeye Bello, I got a few of his clip together, and somebody also put together a piece just to kind of give you the clarity. You know, I did tell you this whole thing is not because EFCC of Tifnumbu suddenly cares about the Kogi people. No, they don't give a damn about you. Nobody cares about you. I promise you, they don't give a damn. But Yeye Bello proved to be a sort of spoiled brat. And in public and in private, for some reason, he dared Tifnumbu. But I don't know if it's Tifnumbu that is dealing with him now or the people around Tifnumbu. Or somebody put this together, if you don't mind.
Events leading to the 2022 APC convention. to elect a presidential candidate, 13 out of the 14 northern APC governors agreed that the party's presidential candidate be zoned to the south.
As you can see, it's not the only aspirant. The governor of Jigawa State is also an aspirant, and he's here with us. And we met. But the governor of Kogi State chose to excuse himself.
Governor Yeye Bello of Kogi State was the only northern APC governor who went against that agreement.
13 of us are on one page on this subject, and we all came to see the president. But the governor of Kogi State excused himself.
He threatened to destroy the party and said he will go to the press. And to carry out that threat, he said this.
Contesting. I bought the form, I was cleared to participate in the election. And no reason for me to be excluded from the ballot. If they do so, then that is a recipe for a bigger trouble for the party. However, I don't think it's a decision of the party. It is a decision of few elites who may decide to use their whatever position to suppress the so-called minority. But I want to prove that in this country, I am not in the minority.
The convention where a two-term commissioner, a two-term governor, a minister, and a former speaker of the House of Representatives withdrew for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Today I want to thank the progressive governors of northern Nigeria, my dear colleagues, having been a governor for 8 years, for their decision to ensure peace, stability, and unity of the country, that in 2023, the presidency of this country should go to the southern region of Nigeria. That as I withdraw now, vote for Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu.
I hereby withdraw for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
A failed governor who only won election through the bullets and not the ballot, and despite all the efforts of the northern progressive governors to support a southern candidate, Yeye Bello said,
We didn't come this far to chicken out. We are here to win.
Governor Yeye Bello said severally that Bola Ahmed Tinubu was too old and weak to be the president, and he mocked the then presidential candidate, Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The 93 delegates from Akwa Ibom, the hundreds of delegates across Nigeria, the 1,200 delegates that were ready to put me in office, I urge you, I plead with you to unite our party, let equity reign, and bring in this man to take over from our current president, and we will support him. I will be there supporting him. I urge you, vote for Ahmed Bola Tinubu as your next president. Thank you, and God bless Nigeria.
Today, Governor Yeye Bello, in his desperate bid to impose his cousin as his successor, is using the name of the president to suppress the indigene of Kogi State with the threat of federal might. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is only known for mentoring and building successful leaders at all levels and not failures. Thank you.
President Tinubu will long build the successor leader. That one is toasting Tinubu there, so that they can help them deal with Yeye Bello. But we don't need that. Dino will do that one for everybody.
Do you know Yeye Bello máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lẹ́yìn ìjọba? I know Yeye Bello máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lẹ́yìn ìjọba. Do you know GYD máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lẹ́yìn ìjọba? We know GYD máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lẹ́yìn ìjọba. Ìwọ Yaya, you Yaya, kí ló tún kù tí ó sọ? Kí ló tún kù tí ó sọ? Ẹni tí mo bẹ́ lórí tó ń ṣẹ̀nu wúyẹ́, kí ló tún kù tí ó sọ? Do you know Yeye Yaya Bello máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lẹ́yìn ìjọba. I know. Yaya Bello máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lẹ́yìn ìjọba. Do you know? GYB máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lẹ́yìn ìjọba. We know. GYB máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n lẹ́yìn ìjọba. Ìwọ Yaya.
Canary Dino. Anyway, that is just by the way. So the other part is this one is just like a flash, all right? Just kind of don't make it look always like, you know, they are not doing anything. The Nigerian army came back from what they call the theater of war, where they engaged the terrorists in the northeast of Nigeria. So on their way back, they were given this rousing welcome. And I want to believe on that part, that part